go. Hey ladies, welcome back to another session of Build Your Craft and Career. And today we brought on someone really, really interesting. It's going to be a great conversation. Tami York is a lawyer, otherwise known as in-house general counsel for a major construction firm. Very interesting job, not something you would typically think about when you're thinking of entering the construction trade. So we're going to hear all about her very interesting way that she became a lawyer. So Tami, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Camille. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so give us a little background, like where are you located? Are you married? Do you have children? So we kind of have a sense of you, and then maybe a little bit of how you became a lawyer, right? I have a couple of friends who were lawyers and I kind of know the path they took, but I have a feeling yours is different.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you so much. I live here in our Denver office, live in Denver. I've been in Denver and the surrounding area of Denver for, going on 27 years. And I am the mom of a four-legged, adorable dog. And her and I live really, really close to our office. Yeah. And she often comes to work with me and has been, self-appointed mascot of the office.
Oh, I love it. I love a good work dog.
Yeah.
Nice. And how did you become a lawyer then? What's your background in that? Yeah. Or maybe even, how did you pick that? I don't know why I'm always more interested when women pick becoming a lawyer. I'm not even sure what that is, that bias, but sure. I'm always interested why women become lawyers.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting story. I'm happy to share it. So I grew up in Northern Illinois in a very small town. My dad was a steel worker. My mom was a postal carrier. And I went to undergrad at Illinois State, went to community college first. I'm a big fan and proponent of community colleges. I think they're a great asset. And then I went on to the university and got my bachelor's degree. I got my bachelor's degree in public relations and had minors in journalism and business, which basically tells you that I didn't exactly know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I loved school and I knew I wanted to go back to school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I moved to Colorado and took 7 years in between undergrad and law school and worked in the casino marketing business. And there's limited stakes gaming in Colorado, and I worked in a community that has limited stakes gaming. And I did marketing for casinos, and I did that for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that at the time we were renting an apartment, and my boyfriend and we had left that apartment, and our landlord took our deposit and did not give it back to us without explanation. And something in my gut, have this really sense of fairness and justness in my just personality, and I sensed that was wrong. And so I went into the library. This is back when we had libraries, and went to the library and I researched it, and sure enough, there's laws against doing that. And so took my landlord to small claims court and got my money.
Wow.
And felt really empowered by that, and realized maybe this is my calling. Maybe this is what I need to do. I need to help people to correct these injustices that landlords are doing to their tenants. And at that time, it was a lot of money to us. We were struggling, and so it might as well be.
It's hard to get a deposit. Sometimes it takes years to save that. So it is a big deal.
So that's how I found my path to law school. And so sat for the LSAT and did fairly well, and went to the University of Denver and did the evening program and worked full time through law school. And I just so happened to start clerking while I was still in law school for a firm here in Denver that did a fair amount of construction defect litigation and represented both homeowners and contractors in different construction issues. And so I was introduced to RE when they were just a newly formed company.
Wow.
And probably am one of the first people that interacted with our founder, Drew Anderson,
Mhm.
20 years ago as a law clerk in my law firm.
Wow. So yeah, so it really was, you kind of stumbled across it and then was like, wow, this is really fascinating.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder what your Enneagram number is. Do you know what your Enneagram number is?
I do not. I do
That
not.
would be very interesting to look up, but it's definitely going to be justice and fairness and equality. And
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try to figure out what it is and send you an email.
Yeah. I've often wondered myself. And you know, that's one of the things that attract me to RE and Reconstruction Experts is that, you know, there is this moral alignment
Right and
for
wrong.
me
Yep.
and fixing things
Yeah.
that have gone wrong in the past is really important for me. And it's important for me to feel a part of that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, especially in construction, it's so easy to just cover stuff up. It's so easy to just look the other way a little bit. I've seen that. I'm a cabinet maker, carpenter. My husband's an electrician, and we still talk about it. I mean, we're both retired, but we still do jobs because we enjoy it, and we still talk about it. We still see it. I mean, we've both been doing it for 30 years, and we still
Mhm.
see electrical panels put in wrong that are absolutely overloaded, and we know it's going to cause a fire in the walls. We see, but these are by legitimate companies, right? That are still licensed in the state of California, high regulation, and we still see companies doing stuff like that. And we just are like, we can't believe they get away with that. We
Yeah.
still see that, and we're like, wow, they just have no sense of right and wrong, right?
Yeah, it
And
does happen. You know, and that's how our company came to
yeah,
exist. It's one of our founding principles is to correct those
mhm,
construction deficiencies, those mistakes that happen in
yeah.
construction.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about Drew, the owner, since you really did meet him at a very young
Yeah,
stage, right? Like a very early stage in the company.
yeah,
Like what's his background and a little bit more of that, like how RE even came to be?
yeah. So Drew Anderson's background, he was working in construction for a company that did a kind of a similar thing to what we do now in California.
Mhm.
And that company decided I think the owner retired and decided to stop doing business. And he and another gentleman that he worked with decided, hey, let's do that. You know, and young and fearless. And so they moved to Colorado and opened shop one day. And he can tell the story much better than I can, but literally their first office was two sawhorses and a piece of plywood for a desk in a warehouse.
Mhm.
And they had a truck.
Yeah.
And when I met Drew Anderson, it's been almost 20 years ago, my law firm was actually hiring reconstruction experts to assist with what we call intrusive testing. So basically, we are prosecuting a construction defect litigation case, and we need a construction professional to come out and take the things apart,
Mhm.
let all the experts document how it was put together,
Right.
and then put it back. And so it's a very careful
Yeah.
removal of different layers of the building or the structure, and then putting it back and allowing all of the parties to document that so that they can then go form their opinions on how it was done right or how it was done wrong,
Hmm.
and then testify in court as to that. And so I met Drew at a time when we hired reconstruction experts to do that type of work. Drew Anderson showed up in his truck with shovels, with his tool belt,
Yeah.
and he was the one that was there. And so I had this unique perspective that maybe a lot of other people
Yeah.
that didn't get to know Drew at that time, of the hard work that he put in and the time that he put
Yeah.
in you know, growing this company and doing the work, actually being on the ground and doing it and being next to his team, and helping that in that way. So I have this unique perspective of Drew that not a lot of people got to see.
Yeah. You got to
And
see him walking the walk and talking the talk, like
he
doing
absolutely
things.
was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That builds so much integrity, right? Like
Yeah.
so much integrity and
Yeah.
credibility for you. I
Yeah.
mean, and so now it's how many millions, how large is the company now?
We are slated, I think, on track to do about 160 million this year.
That's what I was thinking, was 160 million. That is incredible what he has built. I mean,
Yeah.
and just, it's a testament to just all the people that work there that are, he comes so highly spoken of and stuff. And you can really see why, though, because he's just been doing the same thing he's always been doing.
Yeah.
Got to do the right thing, just on a
Doing the
bigger
right
scale.
thing and building the right team.
Yeah.
He's uniquely gifted in that regard, and he can see people's personalities and their character.
Yeah.
And he's a really good judge of that character from a very early stage. And it's one of the reasons I decided to come in-house is because of Drew Anderson.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, how did he lure you away? Right. Because you obviously probably had a good job. And what made it, well, you were already working in construction, so you knew the lingo, you knew a lot of you knew what the job was in the industry, but like, what was it that you thought you could do differently at this company?
Yeah. So I had a great career as a litigator, and I was a partner at my law firm. I had gone on to, after law school, to become partner in a firm, in a very successful boutique litigation firm, and had all of the great things that go along with that.
And you must have been very young.
I was very young, even though I started law school at a later stage because I took that time off for a different career. I was still very young. I made partner in 5 years. So that was, a pretty impressive and a lot of hard work. Yeah. And so I had all of these wonderful things that came with that. I was making great money. I was driving the great car. I had the beautiful home, all of the things, and it looked great from the outside. But it wasn't making me happy. Really? And I was not entirely happy with how my life was proceeding.
Was it just like you weren't fulfilled, or did you not like the actual work you were doing, or was it the people you were representing, or
being a litigator is extremely stressful.
Okay.
And the work is never done. I was working a ton of hours. I never had a day off, hardly. And it was taking its toll. I was taking on my clients' stress and my clients' problems as my own. And so it was starting to take its toll, and things were starting to crack in my life. And so I really just took a moment to reevaluate my life and what I wanted to make myself happy. And I realized that although I really enjoyed being a litigator and I loved the competitiveness of it, enjoyed the kill of winning, and loved all of that part of it, the work and the effort and the time that it took to put into that was not good for me. And so I took a step back. And so I stepped down as partner and went of counsel with my firm. And that allowed me to keep the clients that I loved working with. And RE was one of them. And so I continued to work for RE as their outside counsel, just helping them on general corporate things and disputes and employment matters and those types of things. And realized that's what I really loved. I really loved helping a company grow and guide them, and helping them to resolve issues. And Drew came to me, and over the course of a year, about once a month, would try to convince me to come in-house. And I finally gave into that and realized he's right. This is the company I really like, and this is the company I want to be a part of. And so after about a year of that, I decided to come in-house, and that was about 8 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, I imagine he's probably pretty persuasive if he's good at his job.
He can be a very good salesman.
Yes. And so, just thinking about your previous job, it must have been very high stakes. Like everything was just such high stakes. Your clients, own, if you win or not, right? Like
it's very high stakes.
Tightrope all the time.
Yep, it is. And you can never be prepared enough. And this is the thing that they don't tell you in law school is just how much pressure being a lawyer is and juggling multiple clients and multiple court cases at the same time.
Right.
And they don't tell you how stressful that can be and what a toll that might take.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching right now on Netflix, The Lincoln Lawyer. Have you watched that?
I've not started that.
Oh, you've got to. It's binge worthy. You're gonna not be able to stop once it's fantastic. He's a criminal defense lawyer.
Yeah.
He's incredibly likable and he doesn't try hard at all, but he doesn't try to be liked, but you just like him. And he's burning the candle in 1,000 different ways, personally and professionally, clients. It's just super, super well done. And it's just probably a tiny glimpse of what it's like with the pressure. But I can imagine with that previous job, just the amount of money that's involved in construction, if any of these jobs, just even one of them, the amount of what's at stake, for each client, and they're looking to you to solve every single possible little detail. Like, yeah, I can feel the pressure of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of sleepless nights, working weekends, always preparing for trial. There's a lot that goes into that, and
never quite knowing if you've covered everything, right? Like feeling like something might still happen.
But in that regard, also, I learned so much, and it's one of the reasons that I feel like makes me uniquely suited for the position I'm in now. Is that I do have that experience. I have seen firsthand how these cases play out in the courts. I do understand how the law works, and I can gauge, those types of things, and give advice based on personal experience of having gone through that.
Yeah. One thing I did learn from The Lincoln Lawyer, the show, just on my own, is that I can really see the art form of being a lawyer. I can really see that there's real facts and laws and regulations, but I can see how there's an art to it of how to persuasively build a case, how to deal with all the things that keep coming thrown at you. Like, it really showed me that it's not very cut and dry. There's really a lot going on under the surface. So I can kind of see how that judgment of being a lawyer, like that's what makes a good lawyer, is really that judgment, that strategy, so
it really is. And I often compare it to a game of chess. If you're a chess player, and you have to always be thinking, like, not just one move ahead.
Like 10 steps ahead.
All of the moves ahead.
It's very much like poker in the sense of even just, being people's tells and their body language and all those things that you see in the game of poker. You can really see that in this show. So I'm imagining it's very much like that. Like, you're really trying to assess your opponents, and lots of things go into that, right? So
absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. So, okay. So you're working for Drew now. And so what, for Ari, what would you describe as your average day, or just like outside of the lawyering part, what else do you do that's kind of that you find particularly interesting at Ari? It's maybe not like a typical lawyer's job.
Right. So I also head up our HR department as well as our administrative department. So I not only have all of our legal issues under my umbrella, and manage all of the legal aspect of our company, but also I manage all of our human resources and our administrative group. And really, that's just people. And that part I love. I get to be involved in HR issues and helping our employees, and whether it's guiding them through benefits or helping them through a tough time, helping them to understand different benefits that are available to them. And then also our administrative department, who I'm extremely proud of. They are the grease that keep the wheels going. They're in the background. They are the people that make sure that things are getting done, and they get very little recognition, or at least visibility. But they truly are the team that keeps it all going, and make sure that everyone has all of the things that they need in order to do their job to take care of our clients.
Right. So it actually sounds like a good mix, though, because you kind of get to put your lawyer hat on, be your smarty pants, right? And figure out all the strategy that you like,
Mhm.
but then also get to really deal with the people, which I'm sure is probably a joy because of all the people I've met at REI already, of like the kinds of people that they hire.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're really getting to deal with a lot of really amazing people.
Yeah, it's really such a unique opportunity for me, and it suits me so well. It does it plays into the thing that I love the most about being here, and that is getting to be on the forefront of a growing company and helping them and guiding them in that process. And I, as VP and General Counsel, get to be a part of that. I have a voice in the room,
Yeah.
and get to be a part of all of the growth and all of the initiatives and strategic opportunities that are coming our way and that have come our way, while at the same time being very connected
Right.
to the things that are also really dear to me, and that is helping the people within our organization and helping them grow and be better at what they do. So yeah, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it's funny that you say HR because most of the time when people think HR, they're like, oh God, right? Like those people are sometimes the least helpful people in the company, right? And you seem like the complete opposite of that. Like I feel like I could actually go to you with a problem and you'd be able to help me
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
out how
gosh,
to
I hope
productize that.
so.
Yeah, I can get that very caring sense from you that you would
Mhm.
actually you'd be the first line of defense of really helping people work through stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, and that is such a rewarding part of my job,
Yeah.
is getting to help people, and we approach that um, in such a proactive way, and you know, we are such a fortunate company in that because we've approached that in such a proactive way to help our people,
Yeah.
and that is really, what we do. We practice more care, not just with our clients, but also with our employees, that we've not had HR problems.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that you're right. There is, HR kind of gets this rap as
Yeah.
if you're going to HR, it's usually for something
Yeah. And usually
awful.
they're not helpful.
Yeah, they're not
Just going through the
helpful.
motions. They're just like, here's your piece of paper, like not helpful.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we have built a group that really cares.
Yeah.
We are all about making the employee experience as good as possible.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope that everyone feels like they can come to my team, or even to me. And when they are going through a tough time, whether it's a personal issue or it's a professional issue, that they can come to us and we can help guide them and get them back on track. And that really is just the theme that goes not just from the high level,
Yeah.
outside clients and outside people, but it's internal too. And one of the things I love about our company
Yeah.
is that care is practiced throughout.
Yeah. It's not just lip service.
It
Like
is not.
it's not lip service. I can
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, I would not be here for 8 years if it was just lip service. I
Right.
would have moved
You
on.
would have moved on because you
Mhm.
could. Yeah. Do you like, what do you think? What do you see from your unique perspective? Because you really are on the inside of like multiple layers, right? And you were there from the very beginning. What do you think is different about women in the trades or in construction that you really see as different that they bring to the table?
Yeah,
Because you have a
yeah.
very, I mean, you truly are seeing stuff from a very unique perspective. What do you think is great about women working in the trades?
Um, I think I think the great thing about women in the trades is that they can do anything, really.
Mhm.
And I grew up in an era where we were taught that, bring home the bacon, do everything, and still be everything to everyone. But I think that is so true of what I am seeing, and I think what the industry is starting to see, and certainly here at Reconstruction Experts, is more women applying for these types of jobs that are traditionally male roles. And what I'm seeing, and I think what men in the industry are seeing, is that they're really an asset. Women bring a voice and an opinion and an ability to rise above that traditionally maybe men have not been able to do. always, not all men, but certainly a lot of men in the trades get kind of bogged down in the noise, right? There's a lot of noise that can be very distracting in the trades, especially. And what I've seen from the women that work in our companies, they rise above that. And they have this unique ability to filter out the noise and still manage to get the task done and not become a part of the noise or let it drag them down. And so I think that that's what we're seeing, is that women are really task oriented, and that is serving them well, and that they have this ability to just rise above all of the other stuff and still keep on track. And it's so important in construction. We have schedules we need to maintain.
Yeah.
We have, issues that come up daily,
Yeah.
and they're able to get above it, get out ahead of it, and address it and get that task accomplished. And I don't know if that's something that is a social upbringing, or if it's an innate ability because we're wired differently and our chemistry is differently, but whatever it is, they are bringing something to the table that is really good and really important in our industry.
Yeah, I think it's emotional intelligence, right? EQ, I think, is one thing, is just the ability to manage lots of people's emotions and lots of problems all the time, right? Women are kind of dealing with that on a daily basis. I think they're just particularly they have a natural ability to manage that stuff, I think, well.
Yeah.
And especially in a very supportive environment like you guys have provided, they really can just deal with the actual problems instead of like defending themselves all the time, right? Like they can actually deal with it. So
they do. They make an excellent project managers. Which project management is just a really difficult job. You're juggling a lot of things. You're juggling client communications, you're juggling the finances of the project, you're juggling trades.
Lots of emotions flying around.
And there is a lot going on, and they
Yeah.
are particularly suited for that position. And they bring such a calm and steady voice to that position. And it's awesome to see. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so to kind of maybe wrap this up, I've loved you sharing this like real slice of life. It's a very interesting, it sounds like a very fun, challenging job. Very lots of variety, lots of different things happening every day. What are you, especially because you're in HR, what do you think? I don't know if you're in hiring, but I assume you've probably seen a certain amount of qualities that you see that work better than others. What would you say to a young woman who's thinking of making a career change? Maybe she's in a job and she really wants a career. She really wants something she can throw herself into. Like what qualities do you think are particularly well suited, or that you see you're kind of looking for if you were ever on a hiring panel, outside of just they already know how to do the job or they already have construction experience? Let's just say they don't have that. What kind of do you particularly look for?
Yeah, so we are recruiting a lot. It's a tight market out there. We have anywhere between 20 and 30 positions open at any given time across the country in all of our locations. And the qualities we look for are not so much whether you've had specific experience in the industry. And so what I would encourage young women to go for it, even though they maybe don't have this particular skills for the job. They may have a great personality, and really just that ability to learn, the ability to multitask, the ability to manage people in the public, because we are in occupied space, which means we're in people's homes. And so that, like you said, emotional intelligence is really important. And so we're looking for people that really exude that kind of calmness, that kind of ability to listen and follow through. Not so much do I know how this particular integration of building materials go, but do I have the ability to listen and learn? Do I have the ability to manage trades that need to do the integration? So not so much understanding the basics of construction, but understanding people and being able to work with people and get them to all come together to create a product, to to put it all together. So I would encourage them to not be afraid and lean on those other skill sets that they might have developed in other industries that are unrelated to construction.
Yeah, like casino management, casino marketing.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, my years in marketing in a casino have suited me well.
Lots of different kinds of people.
Lots of different kinds of people. I'm managing, I was managing lots of different events, putting it all together and making sure it happened. And so when you start looking at and comparing the things that are in common with that kind of thing, managing an event and putting it all together and pulling it off at the end, there are a lot of moving pieces in that. It's not all that different than managing a construction project.
Yeah.
You are managing a lot of different people. You're putting it all together and you're making sure that it happens on time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not all that different.
Planners.
Wedding
planners, event planners, caterers, they would all do really well at this job.
And the other piece of advice that I give young women entering, whether it's the legal profession or construction profession, is don't be afraid to be the only woman in the room. It's okay. I think that, I'm in my 50s now. I've been around long enough. I've been the only woman in the room many times. But what I found is that most men respect your opinion and want to hear your opinion. You are the only woman in the room for a reason, because they want to hear what you have to say. And so speak up. Yeah.
We're kind of over the time of just being quiet and not saying anything,
Yep.
Yeah. That's fabulous. Well, awesome. Well, I sure have seriously enjoyed this. I've never thought I'd be interested in being a lawyer. Even though my husband would say I'm great at debating, but this actually sounds like a very fun, interesting job. And
it is such a fun job.
Yeah, I can see why you're so good at it too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It is a fun job. I was just telling someone last week, Reconstruction experts came to me at a time in my life that was perfect. And it's been the best fit for me. And I think that there are many other people, whether they're lawyers or not, that if they find a company that values and respects different voices and different backgrounds, that you've found your home. And so I found my home and couldn't be more proud of this company.
That's awesome. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience there. And it makes me good. It makes me feel happy to think there's someone out there like you guys really trying to improve the industry, really bringing people back into the equation and really caring about doing things correctly. So thank you so much.
We absolutely do. Thank you so much, Camille. It's been a joy.